Welcome to the She Births podcast, a place for conversations to help you create a beautiful birth and grow gently through the powerful time of motherhood, or as we call it now, matrescence. We are not just birthing our babies, remember, but also ourselves. I am Nadine Richardson, your host and creator of the world's first scientifically verified childbirth education program, She Births. I have been a yoga teacher, doula, and birth educator for over 20 years, and I started to create She Births after my own wild and wonderful birth experience. Today, I am proud to say that She Births has helped tens of thousands of families around the world, and we are published in the British Medical Journal. Our programs have a unique, holistic toolkit, mindset skills, and philosophy that all work together so that you can have the most natural, gentle, and joyous birth possible and make birth beautiful no matter what unfolds. I will be talking with fellow experts around the world so that you can feel empowered and critically be engaged in decision making. There are lots of birth stories from mums just like you, sharing their challenges and joys. We will be hearing from mums and celebrating the extraordinary growth that happens during motherhood, that unraveling rite of passage that leads us to finding a new self on the other side. Our world-class birth courses can be learnt either face-to-face or online inside our free app. Just jump onto the She Births website, shebirths.com, and take a look. We have lots of freebies for you if you feel like learning more. We have a doula matching service, the perfect way to ensure you and your partner are supported, our matrescence program, and our 14-year-strong Soul Mama Circles, the perfect initiation and support into motherhood and sisterhood. Our vision at She Births is to make birth beautiful for every family around the world. So if you like what you hear today, please help us to keep this podcast going by subscribing, reviewing, and sharing with a friend. I hope you enjoy this special episode. Welcome to the She Births podcast. Jessica Dabadi is a mother of three and co-founder of Milk Label, an Australian brand with patented leak-proof bras and underwear designed specifically for mothers. And today she is on our podcast sharing three very different birth experiences. Her most recent baby, finally a little girl, was born during extreme weather and had a 4-hour pushing stage. As Jess says, I thought by then that I knew birth, but you never really do. I know there are lots of you out there who are preparing to have your next baby, and I'm sure you're going to gain so much from Jess's stories. A reminder that She Births is here to help you get back into your birthing zone. We love looking after our second and third time families. We know there is so little time second time around, so we have lots of options for you. Just reach out to me, our team, and let us know if you need support through our online resources, or maybe attending a face-to-face refresher course, or perhaps booking a private session. I hope you enjoy today's pod. My very talented friends at Milk Label have created the most amazing leak-proof breastfeeding bras and have very kindly sponsored the podcast that you are listening to today. That's right. No more soggy, disposable breast pads creating landfill or adding more plastic to the planet. And no more reusable breast pads that slip all over the place. Just bras that absorb milk leaks and keep you dry. Because we all know a sleep-deprived mum does not want to deal with leaking through her clothes or leaking through to her bed sheets at night. Milk was created by mums to solve this issue for themselves, and now it's here for all mums. The mission at Milk Label is to support a woman across her life, and especially as a mother. There are no fiddly front clips. I remember those days in a cafe where you just want to feed your baby, you're fumbling one-handed trying to unclip the bra while your baby cries. Milk is really simple and easy to pull across for feeding. Milk bras also don't look like a typical breastfeeding bra. They are gorgeous, so you can keep wearing them afterwards as you move through different seasons of your life. I just love mine. And underwear is the same. Cuts that specifically work for the female body through pregnancy or postpartum. Cuts that support our figures and a mother's body through all of the changes. Go check out its Milk label and use code SheBirthsLoves at the checkout to get 15% off any purchase. I know you will love them. Simply go to www.itsmilklabel.com, itsmilklabel.com, and make sure you use the code SheBirthsLoves, plural for both, and you'll love it. Jess, welcome to the She Births podcast. It's so good to have you here.
Hi, Nadine. So nice to be here.
It's only taken us 3 months to make this podcast happen because you've been kind of busy.
Yeah, there was the third baby, the cyclone, and then the baby was born, and then the baby.
And then I've been writing my book and down in Sydney, and so here we are. No, it's really good. And I've known you for a long time. And I remember we did a private She Births course because you just missed a group. You were out sailing with my stepmom, I think.
Yeah. My mum and your stepmom are friends, and my mum was saying, you need to do this course. My friend's stepdaughter runs it. It's amazing. And so she sent me the link, and then I said, all right, I'll do it. That sounds great. And then I just missed your Byron course. I think you had one, and we had just moved here. So I reached out and I booked you for a personal session, one-on-two, and it was amazing.
It was fun times. I mean, I remember it was fun for me because I remember standing on your veranda and looking down at your milk shed or whatever it was called, the shed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I said to you, I'm going to stay there. And you guys looked at me like, what? And I'm like, no, I'm going to stay there. Like, that's perfect for me and the dogs when I come up to do a reconnaissance for moving up here as well. So
it was funny how it all worked out, but it was awesome. I mean, the session with you, I think at that point, that was obviously my first pregnancy. I had just moved here. We were living in Sydney for 5 years, and we thought, as soon as I got pregnant, I was like, I don't want to be here anymore. I guess that urge to nest and be in a calm, environment. We'd already bought the house here about a year before that, but it was falling pregnant that just made me want to get out of Sydney, immediately. And so, and I think because the experience in Sydney of birth and postpartum and everything was very different to here, and I could feel that quite quickly. But we didn't have community here. We didn't have family here. We had nothing. And then in Brisbane, where I was, where I grew up for most of my life, all of my friends there had, would go an OB path, private health, private hospital, and a lot of them would have nominate cesareans, and I didn't really want a cesarean, but I was also terrified of birth, natural birth, and I didn't really want to go with an obstetrician, but I didn't really know what there was, and so I came here and I asked one of my friends, Lara, I asked her, and I said, do you know, where do you give birth around here? And she was like, oh my God, you have to go to Byron Hospital. It's amazing. Look at the rooms. It's so beautiful. And then I looked into that, and there's no, in Byron, there's obviously no, well, you know this, there's no access to epidurals or emergency kind of birth,
no NICUs for babies, no intensive care units and so on. You have to transfer up to Tweed Hospital if you needed that.
So I looked.
It's a real birth centre,
and it's midwifery run, and I'd never heard of any of this. And then I did your course with Josh, and it was okay, this is what I want to do. I want to go more like midwifery care. I want to do this birth course. I want to birth naturally. Like, this is what I want to do. And I kind of got very clear then from that point about the type of birth I wanted. And, you know, if things go another way, then fine, you know, just understanding what that process is. But that's what I wanted. And I was like terrified of birth before.
I remember you were really like losing it. You were fully freaking out on the phone when you rang to book in.
Honestly, I was like, what am I like? This sounds terrifying to me, you know, like pushing a baby out. No, like I was just like, this is crazy. But then when I did your course, I would like, both Josh and I were like, oh my God, we get it. Like physiologically, we get it. And I think that was probably, for me, what the biggest thing was to understand physiologically what's happening, because it's never looked into that. And then beyond that, knowing, okay, these are all the tools I have within my control, you know, because there's only so much I can do within my control that I can, you know, assist myself with during birth. And we just went in feeling like really, really empowered. And Josh was like so keen. Like he was just nerding out on all of your like online course stuff. And like, you know, he loved it and he got really into it. And then we just went in like feeling so united as a front. And I think also I said to Josh for the first one, I wanted a doula. And he was like, no, I want to be like the doula, basically. And I was like, what do you mean? And he really didn't want one. Like he didn't want one in the space, which, and I like met a couple and I was kind of keen to start doing that. But he was very like, no, I want to do it. And I think he may be, you know, then really got into it even more to like prove himself. And he was epic. He was a great,
didn't he have like a broken foot or something that first pregnancy as well? He was on like a crutch or something when I came to teach you guys. He was hobbling.
Yeah, he had like maybe a knee injury or hip or something.
But it was all kind of cleared up for the birth and he was able to be the daddy doula.
Yeah. He was right into the hip squeezes and all the things, and he was operating the TENS machine and he was doing everything.
He was all over it.
Yeah, it was great. And we did go into Byron in the end, and we did birth our first son in Byron there. And it was a great birth. Like I remember feeling like so empowered afterwards, and it all went quite smoothly in terms of like a textbook birth. Like we didn't have anything kind of go wrong, no interventions, nothing. It was all quite smooth. And so I think for me, as like for my first child, it was quite a positive experience and very like empowering, because I had come from this like big fear of birth, and then actually experiencing birth and feeling like this euphoric like and huge sense of achievement from it as well. You know, I think it was like it really set me up for the next two births, being like, I can do it, like easy, not easy, but, you know, I can do it. I can I felt like very empowered by it, basically.
It's so great. So your first birth, you said, was quite textbook. Is there some particular moment from that birth, rather than go through, you've had 3, you know, vaginal births. Is there some particular moment from the first that you really want to remember or that really sticks with you?
I think the first birth, I remember so clearly all of it, because it was probably it's my first experience of birth. So I remember it all, and it's almost like my second birth, I don't remember everything as well, like every moment as I did with the first. But I think for me, I mean, I was quite scared of tearing. And so that the time where I was pushing with Solomon, our first, it felt like I just didn't really want to push. So I would kind of stop, and then I'd go, and then I'd stop myself, and then I'd go, and then I'd stop myself. And I did that for quite a long time, probably a little too long. And that feeling of like finally having him in my arms, I mean, euphoric, like it was incredible, you know. And I mean, that was obviously the biggest thing, but there was also moments like, I guess, like that transition moment that you talk about in your course as well, where, you know, I think you even said it to me when you were here, you're like, at that moment, mums can be like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm leaving. I'm done, and I remember having that moment with Solomon and going like, this cannot possibly, this can't level up from here, because, every contraction is stronger and stronger and stronger. And then it gets to this point, and it got to this point with Solomon that I was just like, I can't, beyond this, I can't. And like, oh my God, I'm in Byron and there's no drugs here. And it's worse. Oh my God, what have I done? It got to that point and I vomited. I remember I vomited just from the pain. And then that was kind of it. Like, that was the transition, and then I hopped into the bath, and then I feel like all the midwives, they're like, oh, she's ready. Like, they all know, they're kind of watching you, like, and they know, they see it every day, and they're like turning the bath on, like getting a bit excited because I'm like going, guys, no, I'm done. I'm out of here. Like, this is crazy. And they're just like, let's turn the bath on. She's ready, and then I hopped into the bath, and it was that, I guess, that moment too. Like, I remember that they called my midwife to come and they turned the bath on. And those two things to me were like the sign of like, I'm at the end, I'm past transition. Now I can push. And that for me was like just such a pinnacle of the night of just being like, oh my God, I made it to this point. And then I hopped into the bath, and then, we had that, then started to push Solomon out. And then it was just euphoric. It was amazing. It was just like, the contractions would like, they would be longer, but like they would break again. They weren't like overlapping as much as they were, previously. It was just like bang, 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 bang until there was like no break. And then all of a sudden it was like break, longer contraction, break, long contraction, push, and it all was just quite textbook, I suppose, in just like a textbook kind of birth, if everything was just to kind of go to plan. And my second son, he was very similar, like a very similar birth, but shorter. So I went through the same motions. I vomited, and then I was like, they're going to turn the bath on. And then they turned the bath on. I was in the same room. Like, it was almost like I was doing it again in the same way. And I was like, this is the same, but shorter. This is great, And I had in my head that for the third, we'll just do that again, and let's just go even shorter, like maybe there won't be as long. And that was a bit of a curveball. That's not what happened. But she was a completely different birth to the boy. I still delivered her vaginally, and I still delivered her in the bath, and I still delivered her without any intervention or anything really major go wrong. But it was a completely different experience with her the whole time. I never had my contractions overlapping. I didn't know when I hit transition, because every single one of my contractions from the moment I woke up in the morning until the next morning when she was born were like 5 minutes apart. It just didn't feel the same, like, and I pushed for like almost 4 hours, 3.5 hours. And I knew how to push. Like, I knew how to push, and I was pushing with all my might. And she was not, I don't think she was centered, and she just wasn't dropping down. And I was losing my mind. I was just like, this is because I had this expectation that I knew what it was going to be like, and it didn't at all do that. And I had beautiful midwives that were so supportive and helping me in different positions, and kind of leaving me alone, because I do really want to be left alone in birth. But also, like, I felt like when they were providing me with advice on like, how about we try this, I felt like, oh my God, yes, I really needed to hear that right now. So like, they were very intuitive and they were amazing. But it just took so long. And I feel like mentally I was just on another planet. I was losing my mind, I think, at that stage. And when I was done birthing her, that euphoria kicked in again. But then I hemorrhaged and I just started to bleed, and that, I think, was, again, like completely something that I didn't think would happen. And, were straight onto it with like the different injections to stop the bleeding. And, it was okay. But then I feel like even my postpartum was quite different, because I think I started my postpartum from a place of like probably a bit of depletion.
Totally.
And I was tired, and I think that my body was tired because I'd pushed so hard for so long. And, I remember with my second, when I pushed him probably out in 3 contractions. It was kind of like 1 minute, then a break, and then another minute, and then a break. And I was like, let's get this done. I was like, once I push him out, I'm done. And I knew that. So they were so different. And it was humbling, if anything, to have that experience.
Birth always is. I mean, birth always is humbling. There's no doubt about it. But that sounds like such an epic journey. And I'm just so grateful that I know there was that concern that you were going to give birth during the cyclone. And like, for everyone who's out there in Australia, you will have heard about the cyclone Alfred that didn't really hit the northern rivers, but we were all shitting ourselves for weeks that it was going to the point where, can you please tell us, you were going in and out of pre-labor, which is a really common thing for second and third babies, to have a longer intermittent kind of seesaw period with pre-labor. But tell me, I remember you texting me when you were in sort of worried about having the baby early.
Yeah, I mean, where we live, when there's heavy rain, we get flooded in, right? So for me, I was scared that during the cyclone, not that the cyclone would hit us and the house would fall apart, but more that we would be stuck here and we couldn't get through the roads. So we made a call like quite last minute to go and book a house in Byron Bay in Ewingsdale, which is right near the hospital. And we booked a house, but like no one was booking their houses because they were like, oh, there's a cyclone, so we're not renting it this week. And if you were like, there's so many flood zones in Byron that with a cyclone you'd be trapped. So there wasn't many areas we could book. And so we booked there. And I was, for a couple of nights there, I was going into labor. I'd start to have contractions, and then something would happen. Like, I remember the first day waking up and the cyclone had hit, and Josh went out with a chainsaw. He brought a chainsaw and he chainsawed all the trees off the road from where we were staying to the hospital, because there were so many trees. So he just went out in the morning and he chainsawed everything so that we had a clear path if I went into labor. And I remember that day I felt like, okay, I could go into labor now. We're like, the path is clear. And then I think it was the next morning I started to have contractions, and I walked outside and there was a huge power line just down in front of the driveway. And I remember just looking at this and going, oh my God, and just all the puddles of water and kind of just stepping backwards and going, okay, so if this labor progresses, there's a power line in the way now. Like, we're going to have to bush bash around, and how are we even going to get there? It was just, and like that, my contractions stopped.
Wow. I love that. I just love the body's intelligence. And I think there's such a dance in that pre-labor that everything's got to be taken care of. There's a real sort of cognizant element to pre-labor and the kickoff into active. But I also really love that now I have to add to my doula basket a chainsaw. Obviously, you can't be a doula. I can't call myself a doula if there's a daddy doula out there chainsawing trees. I've got to pack my chainsaw. I've got my chainsaw. It's a little one, and it's taken me 3 years to actually use it because I was so scared of it. But now I know how to use it after the cyclone as well.
Honestly, it was wild. And then after the cyclone passed, we went back home. The floodwaters receded. We went back home, and then I went into labor, like when we were back home. And I suppose I was back in my environment and everything.
Yeah.
Because every day that we were in Ewingsdale, we would touch base with midwives, and they'd say, how are you going today? And okay, so if you're going to labor today, you're going to have to go to Lismore because the road to Tweed is flooded, and there's flooding around the hospital. So, and the next day it'd be like, okay, so if you're going to labor today,
there's no midwives to come in.
Yeah, you're going to go to Tweed, and every day was something else. So it never felt like, I just felt like, oh my God, what's going on? And so it was funny, like as soon as I got back and I felt settled, then my body went into labor. And the morning that I went into labor, I had our second son at home all day. It was his day home from preschool. And I couldn't really progress with him around. It was only once both of the boys are asleep in their beds,
Yes.
then it kicked off. You know, like it was all day from 5 a.m. I was having contractions every 5-10 minutes all day long, but they didn't ramp up until 8 o'clock at night. Because
you're a unit now. You're an oxytocic unit, and it's just within us now as the carers of our children to be caring for all the children. And so everyone has to now work in kind of harmony together. That's how it's like a little symphony that everything's got to be in its right place for it to kick off.
And now for a quick break. Contrary to popular culture, She Births believes that childbirth can be the best day of your life. It is designed perfectly to be empowering, enriching, and bonding. An awesome rite of passage. Our childbirth education programs have helped thousands of families around the world since 2008, allowing families to not only feel empowered through education, but also connect with their innate birthing wisdom to create the best birth possible and begin their parenting journey with confidence. She Birth's unique methodology was scrutinised in university trials and has been published in the British Medical Journal for improving birth outcomes for both mother and child. I'd like to invite you to begin preparing for birth today. Just go to shebirths.com to discover our 2-day weekend face-to-face courses or access the online courses from anywhere around the world. That's shebirths.com. Create your beautiful birth with the world's only scientifically verified antenatal classes.
I was actually doing a birth prep session for a couple yesterday who are about to have their second baby. And I was just reminding them about the pre-labor, the seesaw, the going in and out is much more common. But also, once waters are gone, you could expect a much faster labor, of course. Once we're in active stage, that's more common, but not guaranteed. I didn't talk about a longer second stage, but I talked with them about, trying to prevent malposition of your pelvis to try and make sure each pregnancy, even if we've had, clockwork, first birth or whatever, can we make sure that this baby is in an optimal position? So keep doing the stuff off the sofa. But you had a knee injury, which I think probably played part in a little pelvic torsion or the way you were positioning yourself in labor. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So probably in the month leading up to my birth, and maybe even a little bit longer, I had like a really sore, tender left knee. And so I was hobbling a lot and I couldn't put any pressure on my foot on my knee. I could stand, but I couldn't put pressure on my knee. So if I was climbing into bed, it'd be kind of uncomfortable and I didn't think too much of it. But when I went into labor, I just wanted to be on the ground. I wanted to be on the mats. I wanted to move around. I wanted to have my, be on the ball, put my knee on the ground, and I couldn't do any of that. I couldn't put any pressure on my knee at all. And so the midwives were trying to make me comfortable and roll up towels or some softer matting, but it was still really uncomfortable. So I was the entire time, I think, slightly off to the side, taking pressure off my left knee. And
so leaning into your right side more. Yeah.
I was. And for the most part, I was standing up in labor. So when I got to the hospital, it was 10:30 at night. So I'd been in with Luana, with our third. I was in labor from 5 o'clock in the morning, just kind of softly going through pre-labor. And then probably at around 8 p.m., it started to ramp up. And then it kind of was swinging in and out a little bit. And then at 10:30, it was on and we went in. And from 10:30 to about, I think, 12:30, I was standing, labouring, standing.
And you didn't want to stand though, but you were standing because you couldn't go on all fours because your knee was so sore?
I couldn't go on all fours. And I was exhausted by standing because my body was actually really tired. I felt like it was 5 o'clock in the morning and it was only, 10 o'clock at night, or even at 8 p.m. that night. I felt so exhausted. My body had been contracting all day, So I was standing, but I was really tired. So they basically checked my dilation at around midnight, and my midwife wanted just to see how far along I was, because I was still having this 5 to 7 minutes between my contractions. And there were strong contractions, but they were really broken apart. And so it was a bit of a strange combination. And I guess maybe she wanted to know where I was at physiologically as well. And I knew I was in active labor. I had no doubt, but I didn't know, was I 4 centimeters? Was I 6? I didn't really know, and I didn't care too much, but I knew I was inactive. And so she checked, and I was 7 stretching to 8. So quite far along. And that, I think, surprised all of us, because my contractions were still 7 minutes apart. So it was quite surprising. And I remember at that point being like, damn, we're like there. And I've only been here for 2 hours. Like, we're going home really soon. Like, I just felt like, God, look at that. Third kid's just going to fall out. And that was not the case. But then they turned the bath on, and I was excited to get in the bath because I could finally be on my 2 knees, not kind of standing and exhausted. So, but even in the bath, I could feel it. So even in the bath, I was slightly to the right. And I didn't, at that point, my labor had progressed too much I wasn't talking much. I was just, going into my zone. So I wasn't saying like my knee's hurting, or I didn't really have the words. I was just slightly off to the right. And I think that, after the fact, that contributed to why she didn't, drop down.
Yeah, she didn't come down through the center. She was sort of leaning into that right side a lot more with her head. Is that right?
Yeah, she was. Yeah.
And that's why it was a 4-hour second stage.
Yes. And my midwife said, all right, can we just try getting you out of the bath and sitting on the toilet?
Yeah.
3 contractions. And she's like, I know it's going to feel awful, but can you just try that? And I was like, I'll do anything. Like, I'll do anything. And so I got out of the bath, and that like pressure was hectic, like
so heavy.
Water, like, oof. And then I sat on the toilet for 3 contractions, and for those 3 contractions, it just automatically, I think, centered her up.
Yeah.
And I hope on the bath, I said, can you break my waters? Because every time I've given birth, the waters only break at the very, very end of my births, like right at the end, and then the head will pop out. And I knew that my waters hadn't broken, and I said, can you pop the waters? Because I just feel like that'll move things along.
For sure.
And so my midwife, Leah, was like, all right, well, yeah. She had like chat to the other midwife, and then she went and got the hook thing.
Crochet hook. Yeah.
And I hopped back into the bath just for because I was like, that was awful sitting on the toilet. So I hopped back into the bath, and she was getting the hook. And then one long contraction came. And every contraction that I was having before that was kind of like, I could feel the head going down, 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 down. And then like it would just like stop, and she would pop back up. Mm-hmm. And I just felt like it happened for hours. And so this one, I felt the contraction come on, and I pushed again with all my might, but it actually was long enough, and she was straight enough. She went all the way down, and my water, like the waters broke. And I felt like this little like pop in the bath. And I was like, my waters broke. And Leah had like the hook thing, and she was like, oh, okay, great. And like puts it down, and we were all like, yes. And then that was it. Her head popped down, and it all happened so fast from that point. But it was sitting on the toilet and really straightening up my pelvis that I believe is what pushed her down. And even afterwards, I went and saw a physio.
Women's health physio, yeah.
And she verified, like she said, your pelvic floor on your body's right side is like more stretched out than the other side. So I'm not even guessing here, like that's what happened. Her head was stuck to the right. And I believe that it was my positioning in the bath, just so slightly like this, that got her head to that point. And
but you know what? It was probably building up in the pregnancy, because I remember you saying to me, I'm just kind of having this conversation because I think it is really helpful particularly for second and third time parents out there. I remember she went transverse for a while. You said, oh, you were really feeling sick and really sore. And I'm like, it sounds like she's transverse.
Yeah.
And you need to get hanging off that sofa, you
Yeah.
know? And so all these little things are signs. And I was just saying to this couple the other day, can you please make sure they've got an 18-month-old that you're not carrying your baby on your hip all the time. Put them on top of your tummy. Or if you do one hip, do the other hip. Really measure it out and be really strict about that and keep the hips as centered as possible. Because I think in our second and third, it's probably even easier to have torsion in the pelvis because our bodies are still really supple and soft and we're doing so much, I don't know, lifting and carrying and all of that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. And we don't have as much time to
That's right.
appointments and go to your chiro and go to your
That's right.
or all the things that maybe you would have prioritized or had time for.
Exactly. It is. It's tricky. Yeah. But I think all that, you did such great work, you know, being able to push her down. You know, if you'd gone on the toilet earlier, it probably wouldn't have worked. You probably did need to really like go through those hours to help her descend just even those little bits. It would have only opened up that last little bit anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you did great. You did so well, man. Like so well. Like but amazing.
It was wild because the moment after she was born, my placenta detached. So immediately while I was still in the bath, and because I'd been in the bath for so long, drinking heaps of water because I was hot and I didn't want to be in the bath and I'd been there, and my bladder was really full, and that full bladder combined with the placenta detaching is, you know, what made me hemorrhage. Because my placenta, like it just, my body couldn't, it didn't contract back because the bladder was in the way. So
yeah, right.
So that's what, the midwives, I guess, worked out during and after, because even with the Byron program, it's so amazing, that program, not only for the birth, but the aftercare that, you know, you receive from them. And one of the sessions was afterwards, like, did anything in the birth, is there any questions you have? Is there anything that, you know, you feel didn't go the way you wanted to, or is there anything you want to like talk through? And it was just awesome because Josh and I were there saying like, you know, could we have broken the waters earlier, or could we have done this, or like what are all the things we could have done? And I feel like women always have a million questions about birth, especially if it doesn't go to plan. It's like what could we have done, you know? And being able to speak to the midwife that was there about those questions. And, you know, my midwife said, you know, like as Josh said, why didn't you just break her waters earlier? And she said, well, you know, for a few reasons. One would be if we broke her waters and there was meconium, then she would have to transfer out immediately.
That's right.
That would be critical.
Or if they broke the waters and Luana's head was slightly malpositioned, she's going to descend in that malposition, maybe facing your inner thigh with her shoulders coming down on your pubic bone and your tailbone, which is extremely painful.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I was like, oh, okay, like that makes sense. You know, both of us make sense. She's like, you know, the baby's heart rate was still good. You were still, you know, we were watching you, and we were definitely like gearing up towards possibly offering that. But we wanted to try just getting your positioning better. That's why we suggested the toilet. And, you know, like they just so into it, and having those conversations after, I think, is also really healing, you know. And then it's like, why did I hemorrhage? Why did that happen? You know, and then going through, well, your bladder was full, and like having these conversations, which I didn't really, but I was like lying on the floor, like lying on the mats, on the towels. They got me out of the bath, and I was just like bleeding, right? Like just so happy. And Josh, I was like
having an extreme panic attack, I'm sure.
I'm holding the one. I'm like, guys, I feel fine. I'm so fine. And they're just like working so fast. And Josh is there just, you know, like
trying not to pass out.
Literally. And I'm just there holding my baby being like, this is the best. Like, I'm fine.
Might need a transfusion, but I'm fine.
I was just, you know, that euphoria that you feel when a baby's born. Like I was like, I didn't even know what was going on around me. I was just lying there looking at her, just being like,
wow. The power of hormones. Yeah.
The
power of physiological birth.
Totally. I was just calm and working on, you know, stopping that bleeding.
Thank you so much for sharing all those details. I think it's so, so helpful. And you're right, the debriefing, like that ability to have those chats and over time, because other questions might arise in a few weeks' time, like as you start to move through the layers of the birth.
Yeah.
It's so helpful to be able to talk to the people that were present to go through those queries and to realize, you know, they're just cards that get dealt to us, you know, like cyclones, knee injuries, like, you know, like they just kind of happen, and we just got to roll with those as we can, as best we can.
Yeah. It's always a different set of cards that you get dealt with, that's for sure.
Absolutely. And it's always humbling and always beautiful. Is there anything else about the births that you feel like a specific moment that you could sort of, or any words? What about words to describe birth? Before we move on to a few other little juicy topics with you, Jess, what words would you use to describe giving birth?
I mean, I think like achievement, you know, like I think it's the greatest sense of achievement I've ever felt. Like that sense of like, wow, like I did it. It definitely made me feel like I could do anything, you know, because birth is hard, and mentally, physically, you know, to go through and move through those enormous waves of, you know, pain and like just totally going inwards into your mind. And I mean, it's a very like, for me, a very like personal experience. I kind of go inwards and like I close my eyes and that's kind of it. Like I'm in my own portal of birth, and you know the support I have around me, it's like I can hear them and I can kind of take them in, but it's just so like, yeah, I just feel like I'm in this completely alternate universe, just me there, and I'm hearing the words of wisdom from the people around me, and I'm feeling the support. And especially from Josh, I'm feeling the support and the presence of him. But it's such a personal inward experience for me. So I feel like it's just such an enormous sense of achievement coming out of that. And then like, you know, every time I've pulled my baby out of the water, which has been 3 times, that's when I wake up, you know, like that's when I've come out of my zone, and yeah, like the euphoria kicks in, and then I look at Josh's face and I'm like, oh my God, you know, and he's probably like rattled from watching me all day long. But yeah, I love it.
Beautiful.
I mean, I often say to like first time mums, like, look, it's wild, but it's amazing. Like it's such, like I would never want to not like, what am I trying to say? Like that's a part of my life experience that I would never ever want to like give up. You know, like I think being a woman is incredible. Being able to birth might look terrible to Josh watching, but for me, I think like, whoa, what an amazing experience. And like, you'll never experience this. That's
there's really nothing else like it. There really isn't.
It's incredible. Like,
yeah.
I mean,
such a sacred place to go into, like you say, in your own little zone, your own little universe. Yeah. It is a vortex. It's like a spirit is just like funneling down through the body and through those gristly bits of the glutes and the pelvis, you know, and it's just like you're just a funnel from the 5D to the 3D, from the quantum into reality to the manifest world, to your channel for new life, really. Yeah. And it's an extraordinary thing to be able to witness yourself get out of the way.
It's wild. I mean, I remember someone saying once, you know, it's almost like you're like going into the cosmos to like deliver your baby.
Yeah.
And it is literally like your mind, you're in a completely alternate universe, like bringing your baby into the world.
That's right. We go out to the stars to collect our babies.
Yeah.
And bring them back down. Yeah, it is. It's like a cosmic experience, 100%. Yeah. I'm so glad that you had those experiences, and I'm so grateful for you sharing. But I want to hear about milk. It's milk label, because we love milk bras. Wait, the dogs are going to do a big shake. That sound in the background, if anyone can hear it.
Excited.
Because we love
its milk label at She Births, and so many of our families love Milk Label as well. I was wearing my sleep shorts last night. I love them. With a big shirt. They're so good. And the bras are just so divine. And you three women are just so savvy. I'm so excited. Milk bras are going to take over the world.
I hope so. Well, it was, I'm an interior designer. That's what I am by trade. And when I had Solomon, I was leaking milk like all over the place. Like it was a hot mess. And I remember thinking, okay, there's leak-proof undies, like period undies. Like surely there's leak-proof undies. I mean, leak-proof bras. I'm on Google. I'm looking it up. Nothing. So I was buying these disposable pads, and they would like slip to the side, and then my milk would go over my jammies. And I was like, if I wasn't woken up by a newborn, I was woken up because I was drenched in milk. Or I remember one time Josh and I were heading out to dinner. I got got dressed up, got the kid, fed Solly, gave him to my friend. We were going out for dinner, date night. And as we pulled up, my breast pads had slipped to the side, and it was just wet all down my shirt. And I was like, I don't want to go to dinner anymore. And he was like, oh, no. I think you were just at the beach. And I was like, no, I can't. And I remember just going home.
Oh,
and feeling so defeated, and just feeling like I can't sit there at the restaurant with two big wet patches on my shirt. And, I was like, no, I just have to, if it doesn't exist, it has to. I'm not the only mum here having this problem. And,
totally.
I spoke to a friend of mine, and I said, do you know where I can get leak-proof bras? And she was like, I have been talking about this for years. They don't exist. And I was like, let's just make it. And so it ended up being a bit of a monster, but we made them, and at the time there was nothing out there. When we patented our idea, the same week, another brand launched a patent on a different version of construction, but there was nothing, not a single brand out there doing it. And we were just like, this has to exist. For mothers, this has to exist. At that point, I would have spent thousands of just so I could have it,
Yeah.
And we did.
I love that. I mean, it must have been so intense. So you had two kids, and you were developing this technology.
Yeah.
And working with two other friends to create the design. I mean, tell us a little bit about it. I'm just going to let the dogs out for 1 second. Hang on 1 second.
Sure.
There you go. There we go. Sausages are happy outside. So tell us a little bit about how you went through this whole process.
Well, we researched just really deep into performance fabrics that were absorbent, dry, what would the combination be? And it was COVID at the time, so we couldn't manufacture offshore. We had to manufacture onshore. So, which was kind of good in a way because we had more control about it. But we had heaps of samples sent from different mills from around the world. And we tried different fabric compositions. And I was testing them out with my second child because I was breastfeeding. And I also had a friend who was living in a studio at the time who was breastfeeding. And I'd be like, can you try this new one? And I would get her to try it and report back. And then, we just had them tested on mum's breastfeeding until we got to a fabric combination that worked really well. And so what we landed on was, so the inner fabric that's against your skin is a blend of merino with tencel, and that is super dry, wicking and absorbing. So it basically pulls the milk then into the pad that's in the middle. And the pad is leak proof. And that the milk then gets into it and disperses it into that pad. And then the outside is just whatever fabric we want to use. But that construction is the leak proof construction. And it's life-changing for me now because I have, a drawer full of them, and I, don't have to really wait for them to be in the wash. I can just wear them all the time. It's awesome, and it's incredible not to have to race to the shops and buy breast pads and do all of that. And then kind of moving on from, we created 2 styles of bras and a kind of a thicker strap with a wider back so you can wear it more comfortably, early postpartum days, sleeping in, etc. And then a thin strap one with
the bralett's so cute.
Yeah, and both of them don't have front clips, so they're really stretchy, so that you don't have to, like, because I'd often with my kids be breastfeeding one of them, and then I'm trying to get the clip back up, and I'm at a cafe, and it's just like I'm uncomfortable, like my boob is out, and I can't get the clip up, and so
you don't get a smooth look as well. I mean, who wants?
You can't wear them afterwards then either.
No, that's right. I mean, I'm wearing them to exercise classes.
Yeah.
So
many months after, because they're leak proof, right? So they also sweat, like
they're wicking sweat away from the body as well, which is really cool. But I mean, you guys have so many cool ideas. Like, it's totally, if you're past breastfeeding, like, it's still a really cool label to check out, because I'm excited. I know some of the cool things that you're got in the pipeline, and I'm like, yes, I'm up for all of that. It's super cool.
Because then we did the undies, right? That was kind of the next stage. Was we asked on Instagram, like, what do you guys want to see? And so many people were messaging back saying matching undies, like matching sets. And we were like, I thought they would say do a sleep top, or do a this, or do a one that looks like that, but do red, or do, whatever they were. But everyone just said matching undies. And so we were like, of course. And so then we went to develop 4 styles of undies that I guess are perfect for mum, pregnancy, postpartum, and beyond, So we have like a V undies, which is for pregnancy. So when you're like massively pregnant and everything's uncomfortable, it's so comfy and it sits underneath your bump. Indeed. But then beyond, when you finish birth and you're feeling yourself again, then you put them on. Like, it's not something that's one season of your life. And then we have the high brief, which is like ultra flattering and like nice and high and supportive. And then we have the sleep shorts, which you love, and they are like amazing. You pull them right over your belly. They're really stretchy, and I wear them to bed all the time. But in pregnancy,
I wear them out with, like, not even with skirts, but my bottom gets really cold, so I wear them with like my baggy trackies.
Oh my God.
My bottom just feels really warm, like walking around Maynham at the moment. I just noticed. I'm like, just want to share, because when your glutes are cold, it's glutes and feet like have to stay warm. Otherwise we go into that kidney depletion and fight or flight. So just saying, they work really well under big trackies as well. They're designed.
They are nice and warm. And I wear them if I'm wearing a skirt, because I always, like, my 3-year-old is always pulling on my
skirt up,
always. And so I'll wear them under skirts, because then I feel like at least they can't.
Oh wow, it's super cool and super beautiful and super just healthy feeling, and yummy and natural and organic-y. They're just divine. I love them. I love them, the bras and the pants. So what advice, I know a lot of mums out there, want to kind of change things up or develop a little side hustle. I think when we start creating new life and awakening like these lower chakras in our body, and also want to, not necessarily go back to full-time work, what would you say to the mums out there who are thinking of developing maybe a side hustle or have a creative idea brewing?
I mean, do it.
Just go for it.
I think that a lot of the time, people have great ideas, but they don't necessarily follow through, and actually do it. Maybe they're too nervous, or you can start small and you can work it up, or you can make it as big as you want, really. We plan to make milk big, so it's actually no longer a side hustle. And I think if you're a mum who wants just a side hustle, you've kind of got to keep that in mind, because milk has very quickly not become a side hustle for us. Because it's really gaining momentum, and it takes every day I'm on it now, whereas it used to be my thing that I do on a Friday. Now every day I'm struggling to keep up with everything that we need to do for it. And we're starting to hire people and look at, like, it's become a bit of a monster, really.
An exciting monster.
Yeah, it's great. But I always wanted it to be a monster. I wanted it to be big. Right. I wanted milk on every mum's body. I wanted to solve a problem for women all over the world. I didn't want it to be small. So I guess it's going where it needed to go, but
Yeah.
if you want a side hustle, don't create a monster. It might be my advice.
Yeah, well, know what it is and know, yeah, there's lifestyle businesses and then there's monsters. And
Yeah.
they take very big, different levels of commitment, and both are really valid and both have to be, you know, aligned with what you're willing to sacrifice. I think there's always a sacrifice. Like, you know, sometimes you're up till midnight, aren't you, working? I mean,
Yeah.
you work so hard.
Yeah, I work really hard. I really do.
Yeah. I think living where we live, like being able to get your feet on the earth and eat great food and just have the weather most of the time, there's a lot of nourishment in this area. And there's a lot of community as well.
It's incredible, the community here. I mean,
yeah,
it's amazing. Like, even just after we had Luana, we had a friend make a do like a
meal train,
organize that, and we didn't cook for 3 weeks. Like,
so good.
The amount of mums that were coming up, and like even like mums at kindy, and like I didn't even really know them, and they would leave me like homemade bone broth soup, you know.
Oh, I know, it's so beautiful. We really care for our mums up here.
And I was just so touched, and I was like, wow, like, you know, there was a few mums from the kindy group. They were like, oh, I'd love to join and, like, you know, nourish her. And we'd only just kind of met a couple of times, and it was beautiful. I mean, it was just so like lovely and supportive to have this community of people around us, nourish us with food, or like offering to drop the boys home from after school, or, you know, like the ways in which they would help and support, like, you know, was amazing. Like, I had friends coming and help just clean up my house, or
wow,
you know,
I love that.
Do things, just rock up. And my business partner Tina, I remember one night I was so overwhelmed. I spoke to you about this a lot, Nadine. When I was pregnant, I was so overwhelmed with mess, and like having 2 boys is just mess. And
that's right. I remember you had a little crying WhatsApp, didn't we? We had a crying WhatsApp about mess. That's right.
I was like, I can't handle it. You know, I had a half construction site going on, and it was just like how my brain was trying to make everything really organized in pregnancy. I wanted everything clean, and I wanted everything just done, you know?
Yeah, so you can nest and rest.
Yeah, whereas now I don't really care anymore. I'm stepping over toys and I'm not even bothering to pick them up. But at that time, my hormones were just going crazy, and I wanted everything perfect. And I remember putting the kids to bed. Josh was away, and I came into the kitchen, and it was late, and I looked around, and it was just chaos. Like, the boys had just made so much mess. The kitchen was a mess. Everything was a mess. And I remember just messaging my friend Tina, being like, and everything's a mess, and I'm all by myself. And I was just whinging. It was 9:30 at night or something. Like, I didn't expect her to do anything about it. She just rocked up at my door, and I was like, oh. And she's like, I'm here to clean. It was 9:30. And she just starts picking up all the kids' toys, and she's like, sit down. And she just starts doing everything. And I was just like, what? And she's like, I'm just going to clean it up, because I couldn't bend over anymore. I was so big.
Yeah. I love it.
It's like, yeah. I mean, you brought over a meal. I mean, the support it's just so, it just fills you with so much like appreciation and gratitude more than anything too.
Absolutely. Well, you've just shared so much joy and wisdom and inspiration and great teachings for everyone out there, like through hearing your 3 amazing stories and your journey from fear to euphoria in your births, and the sort of vision and tenacity and creativity that you bring to milk. Is there anything else you want to say to the parents out there at all who are listening, and to the birth workers as well? Anything you want to say to wrap up?
Honestly, everything. I think mothers are beyond incredible, and I think that we all have so much like divine intuition within ourselves that we really, I think we have to trust it, we have to follow it. And I think in pregnancy and birth, it's like the ultimate exposure to that in life is to really like tune in and, you know, sit in nature and connect to yourself and trust yourself and listen to yourself and surround yourself with, you know, amazing people. I think, you know, your She Births course is transformative. I tell it to every single person, you know, because I think over the years, surrounding yourself with women in birth is so important, and surrounding yourself with, like even back in like the very olden days, there would be the woman in the tribe who would be the what would you call it? Like the birth.
Yeah, the midwife, the birth keeper, the shaman. Yeah.
There would be that
the granny midwife. Yeah.
Who has experience. And I think surrounding yourself with women who are experienced and who have knowledge and who are there to support you. I mean, there's like nothing more nourishing than accepting love and support, not only from friends who come and clean your house and fold your baby clothes and cook you food, but from your midwives and doulas and courses you can do, and just, feeling that preparation and support and love and like taking it in, because, we shouldn't be birthing, without help, all alone, and doing postpartum all alone without help. Community is, I think, so important and so transformative. I think, having women around and our, partners to,
watch us not get rattled.
I mean, Josh is incredible in the birth space, and like, that's purely from your course. He went in feeling like, I can do this, I can support, and not having a husband that's panicking and freaking out because he's on the same page. He knows what you're going through. He knows he may not experience it, but he understands at least what he's witnessing is an unfolding of, labor, certain physiological things that are happening. So, just having that support in every area.
I get that image of like, I just really see that like we deserve fullness, we deserve warmth and nourishment. And if you're not feeling loved up and supported, then start plugging in wherever you can. I think that's what I'm really hearing. Like, get the knowledge, get the support, connect with the wisdom, and let it be mirrored back to you. Yeah, deserving and accepting.
And feeling like if someone says, I'd love to cook for you, say yes.
Yeah, 100%.
Because they actually want to. They want to do that. And it's not only nourishing for you, it's nourishing for them. Like, I want to cook for women who are pregnant and expecting their child because it was done for me, and I want to do that, and people better let me.
I agree 100%. Well, thank you so much, Jess. You have a beautiful day. Go back to the hustle or breastfeeding or whichever path you're walking down this afternoon, and we'll see you soon. We'll see you online.
Thanks, Nadine. So nice to speak to you. Bye.
Our sponsor today is the amazing Milk Label. Did you know that Milk Label uses only sustainable and natural materials that care for your body, milk and baby, so that you can be totally rest assured that there are no plastic fabrics near your skin or your baby? We especially don't want synthetics on our boobs, right? Think about the milk ducts and how open they are, and how so many bras these days are made from 100% plastic fibers. It's crazy. And while most feeding bras can also make us look a little bit saggy because they're made with thin materials, milk bras and underwear are made using thicker, higher quality fabrics that breathe and give mums the support we all crave postpartum. Having stretch and support means you feel great with your ever-expanding boobs, because post-birth we want to feel held. And Milk has patented their amazing leak-proof technology in all their bras, and they utilise Australian merino to wick any moisture into a leak-proof core, keeping you dry and feeling good all the time. Milk Label is about supporting and empowering mums just like you, providing confidence in motherhood and beyond. Make sure that you are wearing milk by using SheBirths code SheBirthsLoves at the checkout to get 15% off any purchase. Just go to itsmilklabel.com, ITSMILKLABEL. It's Milk Label. I'm Nadine Richardson, and you've been listening to the She Births podcast. If you've enjoyed today, please help us keep this podcast going by subscribing, reviewing, and sharing with a friend. Don't forget to check out our catalogue of previous pods and, of course, our unique programs and services. You can find me and my team at shebirths.com, our community of families and birth workers on Instagram and Facebook. She Births is 2 words and plural. Remember, when it comes to having a beautiful birth and beginning motherhood, your She Births education is your empowerment.